So this is the Marimba Lumina. We're here at the Percussive Art Society convention in Dallas, and we're just going to do a quick shoot to show you how the Marimba Lumina works. The Marimba Lumina is a 3.5 octave mallet keyboard. With the addition of these 10 pads and these 2 strips. Now, I can assign almost anything to the pads and the strips. I'll show you how they differ later. But the instrument starts out by playing all mallets if you want. You can start with a layer of mallets. Go to a vibraphone. The vibraphone has dampening. Marimba. Xylophone. Bells, chimes. Then you could say layer them using these 5 pads. I'm going to add to these. Let's see. To the marimba, I'll add bells. Then maybe I'll add chimes. Or maybe I didn't like that. I'll go back to vibes. Then add a little bit of xylophone. In other words, I can use the pads to both select sounds, layer them, do a number of different functions. Now here, with like most keyboards, you can do things like splits, where you put one sound in one part of the keyboard or another. You can do up to 4 splits. Here's a very simple one. I have a bass sound here and a brass sound here. So I can go. Right? No problem. But what's so special about this instrument is actually there are 4 color-coded mallets that you see here. There's a red, yellow, green, and blue. And if you can see the front LEDs in the front, when I play with the red, you'll see that the red LED goes on, the yellow LED, the green, and the blue. So I can assign them all to the same sound. But you might think, well, if you can see the mallets independently, I can see that the red is a red, the yellow is a yellow, the green is a green, the blue is a blue. Using radio frequency technology, I can then assign a different sound to every mallet if I want. So, that sound. You know, you could say I could do that with zones, but you can't, because you can't play the same key with the same mallet and still get a different sound. In other words, if I change my mallets, I actually get a different chord, because now the different sounds are attached to each. I can even play over the top of that. So now that you see some of the potential, I will show you another thing about it. Well, one thing is, when I do use different sounds, I often use, say, gamelan sound. If I could do, you know, it doesn't have to use 4 mallets, of course, just because you have 4. So in this case, I also have a different sound on each mallet. And this sound actually has an up and a downstroke. So the upstroke has a sound associated with it, as well as the down. Now, Marimba Lumina can detect the mallet. Like I said, it sees the frequency of the mallet. So as it approaches the instrument, it actually sees it. That means that when it's on top of the instrument, it also sees it and detects it as being on top of the instrument. So you can use that to play like a keyboard. Say if I wanted the sound to sustain simply because I have the mallets on top of the keyboard, I can do that. Now this is counter to most mallet instruments as well as most mallet controllers. This means that you can play kinds of music which allow you to really articulate the sound very pianistically, as an organist or a pianist would. I use that when I'm also doing sounds like this. See, if you were another aspect of the instrument is that it can recognize the position along the bar. So I can use that to say bring in a filter, like that. With the other mallet being an independent mallet, I can bring in a different sound, bring in back the green mallet, or a different chord. The green mallet's going to play an F chord, the blue C chord. So you can see how the individual control of the mallet is actually very useful when you're trying to express, pad swells, or whatever you might be trying to do. I often use it also in conjunction with, let's say, the velocity curve. Now, you may have noticed that it's very velocity sensitive. In this case, I have the synth sound here, a little more sound at the top than the bottom, but also if I hit a little harder, I get a clavinet. Right? This way I can, play a little funkier if I want, back to that same riff I was doing earlier. Right? I can also incorporate things like pitch bend. So, just like the pads, the strip, or like the bars I should say, the strip is like one very long bar. So in this case I assigned it to pitch bend like you would a pitch bend wheel. Right? This strip, in fact, I assigned to reverb. Now if I just want a little bit of reverb, I set it there. And then I can play along. I can actually do things like play little sequences if I want. We call them little note list tuning tables.